Welcome to Straight Out of the Box. It's myself, Tailz. Today is going to be an interesting day.
Indeed.
I've got a special guest with me. Do you know what? It's mad because I met this guest through a mutual friend who shall not be named.
I think we should name her.
Should we name her?
I think we should name her.
Miss Sherelle. Obviously, if you know, you know. If you don't, then you've missed out.
Yeah.
So she brought this lovely guest with her today, and do you know what? This guest, I've seen her stuff on Instagram. I've seen the positive messages and the humbling messages on her Instagram. And obviously when Sherelle, brought her to my attention and I saw the stuff on her Instagram, I thought, you know what, why not have her on the show? So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Lisa.
Hi guys.
How you doing today?
I'm feeling good, enjoying the sun.
Enjoying the heat?
Yes, indeed. I mean, it is a lot to deal with, I'm not even going to lie, but I can't complain.
Yeah.
Because we don't get it.
No, that's true.
We just have to soldier through, that's it.
Yeah, no, of course. So, do you know what? Before we get into our topic, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Lisa Brown. I currently do some PR within fashion and entertainment.
Right.
But one of my main passions is what I stand for right now, so Consciousness in the City.
Right.
So that's an online platform that I have where I put out inspirational quotes based on self-love,
right,
personal development, so helping one to find their purpose.
Yeah.
And then again, I put out some conscious facts to do with the Black community, with what we do face, and also within love and just financial freedom. So it really just overall to do with growth.
Right.
And what sort of led me to create that was a good few years ago now, I don't know how many years ago now, but a good few years ago, through my own experience of finding myself as a woman and figuring out who I am, and then taking all the L's from before and sort of really reflecting and just going through life. That helped me to realize that there are times when sometimes there's people out there that have nobody. I mean, some of us will have friends and family, but there's some people that don't have that. And even when you do have friends and family, they can't always be there. So I thought, Consciousness in the City, that's my way of showing others how they can be conscious themselves and to be able to get that support when no one's there.
So how long have you been doing it, sorry?
So I've been doing it now for about 3 years with that platform itself.
Yeah.
But in terms of my PR and everything else that I've been doing that for a lot longer, since 2013 when I graduated.
Oh, okay. That's good stuff. Do you know what? Her Instagram and all details will be linked and tagged to obviously our show. So if anyone wants to get in contact with her, then you'll find the details there and in the description. But what we came here to talk about today, the topic is on colorism. So this is actually colorism part 2, because if you saw my show with Trey, then he had the colorism part 1, and we spoke about, his perspective and everything like that. But it's nice to get a female's perspective. So, without further ado, colorism, what does that mean to you?
To me, I would say colorism, because I think what I've noticed about the term colorism over the years is there's always been a lot of confusion with colorism and racism.
Right.
So when a lot of the time you'd find people will complain about racism outside, people forget that we have a lot of our own racism within our own communities. So when it's Black on Black and you've got people judging from that perspective, then that is where it comes into play. So I just feel for me, colorism is something that has always been around, whether you feel you're subconscious to it or you are conscious of the fact that you've experienced it and it's around you. But it's just something that we all face. Yeah. And then it's just that great divide within shades. Outside, they just see us as Black. Outside our race, they just see us as Black. But what they don't always know is within our own culture as Black people, there's always been this great divide, always.
So let me ask you this. When did you experience colorism first time? Or have you ever experienced it first time?
I would say I've experienced it a lot over the years. Like from when I was small and growing up, I did notice it then.
Right.
But my first major encounter I could say that I could remember was probably when I was in primary school. So I think I was about year 5. What age is that? I don't remember.
God knows, I think that's 10.
But you guys get the idea,
yeah.
right? So basically, I was about in year 5.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in school and in the corridor, and there was this dark-skinned girl. There was this dark-skinned African girl. She was walking past. She was in one of my classes.
Right.
And she had called me a black monkey just randomly. Like,
oh, wow.
We had no exchange. And, it just came out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I remember being in shock at the moment as a child. I knew it weren't right, but I went home upset and all these things thinking, I was confused because I thought, you usually, even at that age, you're going to expect something like that to come from someone that looks nothing like you.
Yeah.
So again, that confusion and feeling sad. And then when you think about other aspects of like seeing the 1 and 2 other black girls in my school, because a lot of the kids were white.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. So even little things from early, when we see how the white girls would take care of their hair and stuff. Yeah. And then I remember one time I went to school and I tried to put water in my hair. Like, I don't think I've ever told no one this.
Oh, wow. No, this is cool, straight out of the box. So, yeah.
Listen, I will never forget that day, Yeah. I tried to put water, like, a little bit on the front, and my hair's natural. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when I come home, my mum cussed me because I pulled out my hair and tried to do a little, and it didn't do what I needed it to do. So it looked worse. But when my mum told me off, like, the first thing I thought to myself was, deep down, I knew nothing weren't going to happen. But, you just think maybe if you do something, it's going to do something. Yeah. But back then, I didn't even realize those little things were me looking at what I was used to seeing, mainly white people. My hair was a little bit like that. Me going back home and certain things like that.
Sorry, where's home?
Jamaica.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm talking as if everybody knows me already.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
So going home to Jamaica quite often as a child, like, that helped me to be how I am today, where I'm very much in my culture and within my roots. But back then, those were little things that I just didn't know at the time,
Yeah.
So stemming back to my first encounter, as you said, the first thing I thought to myself, as an adult now looking back, I've asked myself many times, what made her say that to me? What had she heard around her? How many people in her family or her circle had called her Black Monkey? How do I not know that she's in a family where most of the kids were lighter skin, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe even had different kind of hair, as to why she felt that way.
Yeah.
So at the time I felt defensive, but now I look back, it's just another way to understand. So I feel like these are the small gems that happen from early that lead to the bigger things that we face and situations as adults that continue.
See, do you know what's mad? Because you see, for me, my encounter was when around, the puberty ages and meeting girls. And I noticed, like, I went to an all-boys school, but up the road was an all-girls school. And obviously...
Okay.
I had a few light-skinned regins, do you know what I mean? And I was the last to even get attention. I don't even know if I even got noticed. Do you understand? And I felt myself overcompensating just for the notoriety. Do you understand? So I'll probably end up being one of the loudest in the room or something like that.
Yeah.
Just for that little attention, like, raw. And when I started noticing... when I started noticing that I was doing too much, then it was a sort of self-hate, because then it was like, okay, cool. So the light-skinned girls only want to go for the light-skinned guys, and then you've got the dark-skinned girls also want to go for the light-skinned guys as well. So it's like, raw.
And I had that phase for a minute in school.
And exactly. So then I think it boiled down to a point in my early years where, do you know what? Just out of spite, not even spite, but just out of being petty, even if a light-skinned girl likes me, I would never give her the time of day.
I like
literally. It got to that point. Like, don't get me wrong, like, my preference is always dark skin. You know what I'm saying? Light skins, like, I can still appreciate a light skinned girl and give her time of day, but my preference is dark skin. And I don't know whether that stemmed from that or my mother being a dark skinned woman. Do you understand? And obviously teaching me to be myself and to love myself, as opposed to getting, notoriety and, do you know what I mean? And jumping into the same boat as others. So for me, I think for those people that I like myself, or maybe going through something worse, or we need to start, appreciating ourselves more and looking around I'm saying, do you know what? Even if that she don't like you or that girl that you like don't like you, it's okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's something else out there for you. Do you know what I mean? And so, but I noticed that a lot of like my friends that go for light skinned girls. Some of them still do. That's still their thing.
Yeah.
But you know, kudos to you. That's your thing. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And you can have your preference, but do you know what I mean? But I think where the problem stems for a lot of females and people in general really is appreciate your preference without demeaning and banishing, you know, what's not your preference. Yeah. Be that darker skin, be that Asian, whatever it is, like, don't demean, because I think that's where a lot of the miscommunication happens. Yeah. But I like the fact that you said, when you said not long ago about the fact that maybe, you know, because your mum was of darker skin and, you know, maybe that's why you feel like you tried to stem away from going against the stereotype of what most people go for. But and it's funny you said that because I think that's what most women would like to see. But quite often what you do see is it's always the guys that have the mothers that look like you that will turn around and tell you things like, oh, you know, you're pretty for a dark skinned girl. I mean, I heard that a lot when I was in school, and I didn't understand what that meant. Back then, I laughed at it, but if that was me today, I probably would have been like, "What are you trying to say?" Do you know what I mean? Or the common one I get a lot. Why are you so smiley? Like, why are you so like smiley and happy? And again, it's because of that stereotype and the stigma of the angry black woman. And although a lot of women of all shades are seen like that, it's mainly predominantly perceived amongst the darker skinned woman. And then it's like not taking that time to understand, you know, maybe why is she like, because we're not all like that. Do you know what I mean? And this is what I do tell guys when they say that to me, you know, we're not all, but even if they are, I even heard a guy say this the other day, you know, it's taking the time to understand them as a woman, you know, what they've gone through. Because you're not just dealing with it at home, you're dealing with it in the workplace, you know, you're dealing with it socially, you know, you go out with friends and see certain things. You're dealing with it everywhere. And then you've got to deal with it amongst men you may be attracted to.
My thing is, I just don't, obviously, like you said, there's a divide between us. And I think, obviously, even though it's, you know, stemmed from like racism and everything like that, I think it's us, the people, that's carried the torch in basically promoting and pushing this division between us. And this is what the common issue is. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like the negative connotations against the darker skin, whether we're angry or we're not as beautiful or we're lazy, we're unintelligent, we're less than. And the lighter skinned person, whether it's a male or a female, they're more polished, they're intelligent, they're beautiful. And this goes back to one documentary, I don't know if you've seen it, it's called Dark Girls.
How have I not seen that? I thought he was going to say Hidden Colours or something.
No.
I didn't see that.
Hidden Colours is it?
I need to write that down.
But Dark Girls, I think it was based 2011 it come out. And
how have I not seen that?
It's mad because, do you know what? I wrote down actually some of the quotes that I was hearing.
Okay.
One girl said, like you said, she'd been told that she's pretty for a dark-skinned girl, which threw me a bit because what's that meant to me? Do you understand? On top of that is, if I had children, I didn't want them to be dark. And I was thinking, wow, that's mad. You're a dark-skinned woman, and your experiences and just this whole segment of colorism has made you think that you don't want dark-skinned children.
And I've seen that back home. I heard it. Yeah.
And then one woman tried to say, I tried to wash my face, but it wouldn't come off.
It's not even funny. You know, first initial reaction, it's like, we'll laugh. But when you read deep, it's mad. And
so, like, when I hear comments like that, it don't sit right with me because it almost seems as like they quote unquote mind fucked us to be ashamed of our own skin tone.
This is it.
And on that same documentary, you'll get to watch it. There's a child, they did an experiment. So there's this child, black girl, darker skin tone, like me and you. And there's a drawing of 5 girls, all the same face, all the same girl, but different skin tones. And she said, you know what? The interviewer asked her, which one's the smarter one?
Right.
He went to the light skin girl. Which one's the dumber one? That's the dark skin girl. Why is she dumber?
Right.
Because she's dark. So why she's
and why does she think that?
Exactly. It's this
You
division.
see what I mean?
Then she went on to ask who's more prettier.
Mm-hmm.
The light-skinned girl. Why is she prettier? Because she's light-skinned. Who's the ugliest? The dark-skinned girl. Why is she ugly? Because she's dark. So when you're seeing a child stating these sort of things and growing up to believe this, growing up in a society where the division, is that strong, it makes you feel some type of way. Because
it does, and it's very dangerous because, again, these are the same way me and you just spoke about our experiences, and you've just told me about these girls and what they're saying.
Yeah.
We took our experiences and found a way to embrace our blackness and really love our melanin and, sort of like not go against the stereotype of what, black people are tired of seeing our own do. Like, when it's like they want to go against everything that's just not them, you know?
Yeah.
But these are probably the same young kids that didn't find the strength to do what we did. And they've learnt to just carry on to hate themselves. And then what do they turn into? The angry black woman or the black man that just doesn't care for his race and just wants everything that ain't black. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? This is what happens.
So if I was to ask you a question, just give me a rough percentage. If I was to ask you how much percentage does social media have in playing in the colorism thing, what percentage would you give?
Today, I would say probably, I would say at least 60-70%, I would say. Not to say that there isn't many other factors that I believe are a strong influence on that leads to colorism, but the way that technology and social media both as a whole have grown over the years, since like when we was young and it was just introducing and we had no idea, when Bieber and all these things come around, but who knew Facebook, Instagram and all these other platforms were going to come and we could do all these. Today, that's what runs everything now. Yeah. And I think the danger with that is you haven't just got the big platforms like BBC, BET and, all these platforms that are making stuff for kids. They're making content for adults. And then you've got the top people at the top that have got their own agenda of what needs to be included in your storylines when you're putting them out there. If you notice, like, even when certain things, even with soaps, they're all different, but they have the same storyline that will come out at the same time. Do you know what I mean? The same theme, like year after year. And I think it's no different with everything else. They know what they're doing. Like, they plant the seeds, like. So when you got to do with that, you've got magazines that are glorifying what is considered exotic, what's supposed to be stopped. I hate the word good hair, but I hate that word so much because there's no such thing as good hair. But people that may have curlier or softer, longer hair and of lighter skin, as we spoke about the colorism thing, if you're seeing that every day, and then TV's doing their own madness, and then you've got people that you generally talk to day in, day out, or like strangers on the street, and they've got their own opinions that they don't even realize they're already brainwashed.
I get
it's just too much. We was lucky to kind of grow up, have a childhood without that. Like my brother's generation that are like 18 now, I feel sorry for them.
Right.
I really do, because it takes a lot. It's like you've got to love yourself 10 times harder as a dark-skinned person, and then even as a lighter-skinned person, there's a lot you have to do to not be seen as the light-skinned person that everyone thinks they're all that, or maybe loves. Because I know they've got their own battles, We have our battles, and I know they've got their own battles. Because they have to do with that expectation, even when they're not that.
Yeah. Do you know what? I just want to just go back a bit, because we was talking about social media and entertainment and everything like that. And I'm sure you lot have seen it. Obviously, the black hypocrisy with Spice.
Yes.
Now, do you lot watch Love and Hip Hop?
Yeah, I do.
Listen,
that's my ratchet TV.
First of all, I like the song. I like what it meant, what it stood for, and everything like that. My only issue was with it is when I genuinely thought she was going to bleach. Because you see, if she would have bleached, that song would have got cancelled.
100. I was even close to saying cancelled.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in a minute.
She would have got cancelled, because I'm thinking, how can you talk about that and then do exactly what that song says. And how's that putting out the message? How's that making it a stronger point?
Yeah.
Like it defeats the whole purpose. So I'm very happy that Spice stayed in her skin because she's a beautiful woman. Like
I'm happy too.
Like very, very, very beautiful. Obviously, I get it in the entertainment industry. It's a bit mad because obviously the darker skinned women are not really getting shown much limelight.
Mm-hmm.
Like I probably could only think of like 5, maybe 4 light skinned females off rip.
Yes,
like your Beyonce's, your Alicia Keys, Cassie. Maybe a couple others, but I can't think of that many dark-skinned women.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So,
and even the ones that are lighter skinned, when they first come out, they were all darker. And I know makeup alone cannot make your skin lighter like that. So we all know they've done something.
Yeah.
No one wants to talk about it, but we know they've done something.
But it's mad because if you look at like the big celebrities, like, all right, P. Diddy, he's dark-skinned.
Yeah.
But he's with a light-skinned woman. Obviously, Kanye West, Kim Kardashian.
Another one,
Like, I don't know whether this is like a gimmick, a phase, or they're genuinely like, in order to be upper echelon, like this is the route that you need to go through. But my thing is this to any woman out there that's trying to get in the industry, even though like it's a marathon race for you, whereas for others it's a sprint race.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the marathon route. I'm sure at some point you'll break through doors. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like even with the shows that we used to watch back in the day, like if you really think back to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, every single one of Will Smith's girls was light skin.
It's true. And this is what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? Because don't get me wrong. Okay, it could be a situation where it's like, okay, you know, for some of the like how we just spoke on a couple of guys that, you know, it's always been light skin or whatever. So what, you may have had your heart broken a few times by a black woman and then maybe you want to go completely out your race, or maybe you just say to yourself, you know, oh, dark skin women have treated me this way, so maybe I want to go to start exploring lighter skin women. But I think we can't always use our experiences as an excuse. Like, we've all had our heart broken a few times, maybe more than others, whatever. But I feel like we can't give up on love, and you can't give up on your own. Like, you just can't. I
mean, if you're gonna, you shouldn't really generalize because everyone's different. Everyone's their individual. So one dark-skinned woman might not be the same as the next dark-skinned woman.
This is it,
it's depending on the type of woman. And then for some, it just all depends on the type of women you go for.
Yeah, because there could be something in you that keeps attracting the same man or the same woman over and over again. Yeah, not everybody works on themselves. That's the problem.
That's the constant issue. So, not to get personal, but I have to dig deep. Your, let's say, encounters with men, have they all been dark skinned?
No. So earlier, what did you say? You said, okay, we was talking about lighter skin or whatever, and with school and whatnot. As I said briefly earlier, when I was in school and speaking secondary school, so like year 7 to 9, my preference was lighter skin. You couldn't ask me why. Wow. I don't know, innit? That was my preference. Do you understand? That was my preference then. And I don't even know what happened, because even though when I was leaving school, like something just changed where I just went off lighter skin men and I started to like darker skin men. Like maybe they haven't been darker than me, but they've just always been darker. Like I just went off light skin men.
Was that through experience?
But that wasn't through my awakening stage where I was starting to like really find myself as a woman. My preference just changed. So it was weird, because when I really started to find myself as a woman, that was later on. I'd say that's more like 1920 when I really started to do proper work. So before then, when my preference changed, I don't know what. But when I look back at it, I think that I know, should I say, when I was in primary school and secondary school, I wasn't insecure, like in a sense where I've always been bubbly and my, you know, sort of that's always been my personality, like my mum. But then I think there's a part of me that was insecure when it came to my blackness. Do you know what I mean? There's part of me that just always was. Maybe it's because I was around a lot of white kids when I was in primary school. I don't know. But maybe that's why my preference was of lighter skin then. But when I look back, it's like cringe. It's like, why did I not like anybody that was my complexion or even near my complexion. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? Let me ask you something. Actually, just on the flip side, do you think, in terms of this colorism, do you think that light-skinned women had any issues?
I heard, well, I've had light-skinned friends like over the years, and one thing I have heard, remember, you know, sometimes people say things in a moment. When you're young, it rushes over you. You get older and you remember conversations. Conversations I do remember is I heard a lot of light-skinned, the ones that I knew because I had a relationship with them, and I knew they wasn't the type that thought there was the hottest thing as earth and demeaned me as a friend and their other friends. I had light-skinned friends that were like that, not the stuck-up type, because we just wouldn't have connected. So one thing I've heard a lot of them say is that men just assume that they're like high maintenance and you know, they assume that they think they're all that, and it's like they try so hard to almost sort of like please them, and then half the time it's like for them it's not that. It's just not that. And a lot of them, they just feel fed up. It's just like, I remember when I was in school and I'd walk around or whatever, and you'd always have these idiot boys, and like you'd just be walking, minding your business, and they would run past you, grab your bum and just speed off like. And that used to piss me off because I would want to run after them. So, and there was one day we all caught one of them like, and we just, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So again, they would say, you know, imagine they're constantly getting that attention where it's like everyone's rushing after them. Like it sounds like the dream, like for and you know, most guys would want that. Maybe most females would want that, but they didn't see it like that. And I think that's why they always found it hard to settle, because.
Do you know what? You see, with that being said, because.
But I don't know, maybe I publish.
The only thing because I was watching, this is something on YouTube. It's on YouTube, but I'll send you the link, obviously, after the show, and I'll put it in the link for the show. There's a woman, and apologies if I get this wrong, but there was a woman that had, I think, 2 light-skinned women, 2 dark-skinned women, and a light-skinned and a dark. So there's 3 dark-skins, 3 light-skins, and they all would speak to each other, telling them about their experiences with colorism and everything like that. Estelle was one of the guests.
Okay.
And she was sitting opposite an actress. I can't remember her name, but she was a lighter skin. And the woman, the actress, was explaining to Estelle, saying, look, like, when I was growing up, like, it was a bullying thing. Do you know what I mean? She used to get bullied by the darker skin tone.
How can I
for being lighter and everything like that. So like a
lot of them got their hair burnt.
Exactly.
I saw that a lot.
She said her hair got cut, like a nice chunk of her hair got cut, and
jealousy.
And so going back to what we was talking about earlier and about jealousy and this self-hate, like you hate the person.
I witnessed that happen to girls in my own primary school.
So it was a thing of like with me, unless watching things like that, I've never really looked at it from their point of view. So that's why I wanted to put this on this show, to make it seem like not only a dark skin effect, there's a light skin effect as well.
There is.
Who do you think is affected more when it comes to colorism, light skins or dark skins?
I would say the impact is definitely stronger on darker skin, but I do believe that there is a strong impact on lighter skin as well. They do go through a lot, like whether you want to see it, understand it or not, they do. Because again, just on the little things that we touched up on, like I've never had no one burn my hair, but I can't imagine what that must be like. It don't matter whether your hair grows longer than a girl that's got thick hair. Like I mean, my hair's got what do you call it? I ain't got relaxer in my hair or nothing. My hair is natural, but it's just got some treatment in it. That's why it's a little bit softer. But my hair's thick. Do you understand? So I can't imagine what it must be like. Someone cut off my thick hair, I'd be upset. I'd be angry, but regardless of how quick or slow it grew back, because that's a part of you. Do you know what I mean? But again, that's not something you experience as a dark skin girl. So that's my point. Like that's just something we wouldn't experience. But again, that's quite extreme. But we experience so many other stuff that the lighter skin person just doesn't. And the reason why I have to say the impact strong on darker skin is because what we need to realize as Black people as a whole, not even just whether you're dark or light, is that light skin privilege exists. That does. whether you embrace it or not, it doesn't matter. But you see it in the workplace, you see it in the media, you see it on TV, where naturally you might get certain opportunities a bit more simply because you are lighter skin. And that's a fact.
Do you know what's funny? Because shout out to my brother Trey, because he was the guy that did the first part of the Colorism. He also works in media and everything like that. He's got a digital agency, and he does photography. And he was giving me the breakdown of, when it comes to the media industries and when you're looking at like your models and everything, they've got like a casting call. So when they're casting call, it's like they want a specific. So sometimes it's not like the dark-skinned girl can't get the opportunity. Not every single time, but in certain instances, it's not like the dark-skinned girls don't get the opportunity. It's just that this is what the media company or the film company wants. So they want a Eurocentric female or male or whatever have you to play this role. Like I remember looking at Kanye West. I can't remember what it was for. He just wanted a multiracial group of females, and obviously there was an uproar because, like, why do you just want the multiracial? Like, why not the darker skinned woman? Like, you're dark skinned yourself. Like, why don't you do like for like? Champion us, push us like the way you push them. But sometimes it's what they go for, and him being part of the agency and part of that field, he's just got to go with the grain because that's what's paying you to take the picture of the lighter skinned woman and everything like that. So sometimes, like, even though we bash the media and the people that take these pictures or do the videos for, you gotta understand, obviously, that's their bread. I get it. You want to be very pro-black and stand for everything that we stand for as a people and everything like that. But sometimes it's a thing of, do I not eat today because of what they want? Because if I'm not going to do it, the next person, they can just get a next person to go hop on that job, you know? Do you know what I mean? So sometimes we can't always blame the people that are the photographers, the videographers. Sometimes they're looking at it as, I'm just doing a job.
And I think it's funny you said, but I feel like this is why we need to create a lot of these. I mean, you see, for example, like how you've got quite a few of the UK celebs are doing it now, just like a lot of the American celebrities are doing it, where they're creating their own platforms, like whether it's their restaurants or their agencies or they're producing their own music, they're creating. We need to do that because at the end of the day, when you've got their talent agencies, your manager and your this person and your that person, they're all telling you what to do. And when you're a celebrity, you're just a puppet. That's what it is. And then they've got so many rules and regulations that we don't know about. And it's crazy. So again, like you said, it's saying like, do you just submit and conform to get your paycheck and do what you got to do and be a puppet? Or do you be pro-black all the way and just sort of like stand for your cause? And then just go against the grain? Because I mean, classic example, even with one of my old clients that I did an event for whatsoever, and through one of my old jobs where I had connections through agencies, we booked a celebrity, put down deposit and whatnot. And even when she sat with us, she said to us, her agency used to always tell her, you need to stop doing so much of these black events and, because they want to put her for all these big things like, Good Morning Britain and all these things. But, they're telling her you need to act more like Alicia Dixon. And so she can get certain things. So this is why she sat down with us privately and told us not to go through her agency with nitty gritty stuff because we was having like an empowering black event. And she wanted to do more stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, okay, cool. Like, it sounds good. We respect you for saying that because she didn't have to tell us all of that. But she sounded like she really wanted to go and be a part of it. But with that being said, on the day of the event now, she came, she saw, and she left and sent an email.
Oh, wow.
Like, we already paid half the deposit, bearing in mind. And flyers, promotion, all of that, sort of thing. We sold out the event regardless, and she didn't come, and it was a huge success. Don't get me wrong. But the point was that was a learning curve for me, because even when I saw that, like, cool, we got our deposit back naturally because she didn't do nothing, whatever excuse she gave as to why she immediately had to leave. But I just feel like maybe she saw a lot of Black people and how it was, and maybe she felt a bit intimidated, even though we very much catered for her and ran things quite professionally. But that's my point. Like, there's a lot of, even for a lot of celebrities, like, it takes a lot for you to stand for a cause. But when you do, you need to do it all the way, because it's like,
you can't be doing
it was a letdown. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, after everything you told us, like, it's refreshing to see when someone will stand for something. But even with that, it just shows that we didn't really need a celeb in the first place to make a point with the whole event. And at the same time, like, what are they going through as to why, you know, they've got puppets telling them, like, you can't do this and you can't do that. And then when you have the opportunity, you're scared. So it's like, they're not ready. Do you know what I mean? So,
in your opinion, what can we do to help, you know, stop this colorism amongst ourselves, first of all?
We need to go back. In order to stop when I say go back, I think for a lot of, like, youths and even adults, like, because it's not, there's no cap on learning and growing. Do you know what I mean? Like, that can happen at any stage, and it's an ongoing process, like, in terms of, like, self-healing and all these things. But we need to go back to where we came from, like, in a sense of, like, when you dig up your history and know, as Black people, the great things we've accomplished, like the things we have gone through in terms of struggles, the good and the bad, everything they've hidden about what we've done. Because remember, when we were in school, they only showing us about the little bits like Roots. And then I remember even when we watched Roots in school, like, you'd look at the next white person, see for 10 minutes you hate that person, you know? For that 10 minutes you hate that person,
emotional,
you know?
It's emotional moments,
But why are they not telling us about the Moors? Like, why are they not telling us about the Black kings, like, that existed before slavery, like Big Ben and all these different things they made? Do you know what I mean? Classical music, that's ours. But it's promoted as if it's white people's. Like, there's so much we've created, like, across the world, like, introducing languages in different countries, like, there's so much that they've hidden from us. And when they planted those seeds, like, as you said earlier, like, we've gone to self-destruct and then destruct each other and then break each other and all these things. But all they did was plant the seed.
And you know
and
what?
A lot of these youths killing each other, they don't even know where they come from.
You know, I always thought that, you know, not to bash white people, but the white people of that period back then were great masterminds. Because for you to plant a seed and it to be still affecting us from back then to this day, you gotta be you're a genius. You're a genius. And as you see it now, we're in terms of colorism amongst ourselves, colorism, whether it's media or even on the roadsides, we're all breaking each other down. And it's the minorities, like maybe like yourselves, that's doing the conscious talks and everything like that, and all the other Black businesses that are trying to help elevate, but there's not enough of us doing that.
Not enough, no. And as we know, but bullshit sells more.
Controversy sells a lot more, and that's the problem that we create for ourselves. And this is why I'm saying that we're a part to blame, because we champion this sort of behavior. We push it everywhere we go.
We do.
Do you know what I mean? And the only thing is, look at the generation that are younger than us and coming, like, do you know what I'm saying, after us. Like, it's becoming more worse and worse. But what I want to ask to you, what can women do? Because you see, in terms of this colorism, you still got women that, I'm not drawing out nobody.
No, say it.
Yeah?
Please say it. I feel like
I'm
I know
just saying, you're still going for the Eurocentric hairstyles, the features. Some of them are still going through the ops, the plastic surgery. You want to get a slimmer nose. You wanna lighten yourself, bleaching and everything like that to look like that Eurocentric women. As a woman, what advice would you give to these young girls to stay comfortable within themselves as being that darker skinned woman, the natural, as opposed to going through the weave and the straightened hair and everything like that? I mean, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with wearing weave and this, that. I just wish that a lot more Black women would do the natural as well. Like, keep a balance in it. Balance it, innit?
No facts, because I started to feel like a hypocrite. Yeah. Because even myself, for example, like, I'm not materialistic, and I'm not, like, heavily about trying to make myself like what's stereotyped to be, you know, like, I don't know, the white woman or what you see on the media and all of that. But however, even with all of the conscious stuff that I try and do for myself behind closed doors, and then obviously with my platform to the public or whatever, my hair's been relaxed for quite some years. And when did I go natural? I think maybe I've been natural for about 2 years.
Right.
3 at the very max. That's a push.
Yeah.
But I got to a stage where I was like, I knew for a good year and a bit, that I wanted to go natural, but it was just this mental thing where it was like getting myself to come to the idea. And the more I thought about it, I was like, I can't be doing unconsciousness, and I'm here, just embracing, the white people, them's hair, and I'm doing all of this. Do you know what I mean? I need to be able to really fully love myself and learn how to deal with my hair and not give the excuse about, oh, I can't be bothered and all of this. When I relax it, I can just wrap it quickly, So, I had to see past that. But the advice that I would give to the young kids is to really take the time. Don't say you're lazy. I mean, I know we all love a bit of ratchet TV.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Whatever it is, whatever our dose of entertainment is, we all love it, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
However, you need to make sure that the positivity that you're influencing yourself, so the people around you, the things that you feed your mind and soul with, so things you watch on YouTube, books that you may pick up, even if you don't read, it don't matter. Today we got so much information out on the internet, balance it out. Read and watch things and speak to people that you look up to in that sense to get that information when it comes to who you are as a person, where you've come from, and really just taking the time to love yourself. So when you look in the mirror, see beyond yourself, see beyond your flesh and the outer. This is, when you leave this earth, your body's gone, do you understand? It's all about the soul, you need to feed it. So make sure that, it's easy. We can all assume that and say that we love ourselves, but ask yourself, do you really? Sit there and be still and ask yourself, do you really love yourself? And do what you have to do, do what you have to do to really just have me time. Always make time for yourself, because that's key. It's all good to be around friends, family, work, but if you have no sense of you time where it's just you, it don't matter whether you're smoking and holding your meditative vibe or if you're going to sit there and meditate, go for a walk, write, do whatever it is you have to do to have your you time, because those are the times that you will grow, and you'll be surprised if you sit down and listen to yourself, the answers. Sometimes you're your best advice.
Yeah,
if
true.
you really sit down
and
listen, that voice you don't want to hear sometimes is what you need to hear.
Yeah, I agree with it. So primarily you're saying that, as people, we need to really educate ourselves.
Yeah, and we need to unite, because, Black men see it and Black women see it all the time. A lot of women do not want to support each other. They're quick to want to support a stranger or whatsoever, and all these things unite with women you do not know. Unite with women that you do know. When you have females in your life, embrace them. For example, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my friend Sherelle. In the same way, a lot of my consciousness in the city post, as I said to you before we started filming, I don't know nothing about technology. I just know what I want and how I want it to look. So sometimes I call my client and sometimes I call Sherelle, and she'll make the posts how I want them to look, like the proper ones. She brought me on this show today. We help each other. Do you know what I mean? We need more of that. That's key. But you can do that for women you don't know. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you like something and interest you, like it. Don't not like it because you don't know the person. It's what you embrace it. That's what we need to do. Unite more and stop segregating because one's light and one's darker. Because at the end of the day, all they see is the Black person.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that totally. I think that we really should come together and stop this divide amongst ourselves.
What do you think we could do, more of?
What we could do? Well, stop listening to the powers that be. That's the same powers that be that's helped manipulate our minds into dividing amongst each other. I think that, like you said, we should give more time to the next fellow Black woman or Black man who, whether you're light skinned, albino or whatever, do you know what I mean? I think that that's something we need to champion ourselves as a people, and champion ourselves to the greater masses. Do you know what I'm saying? Until we start doing that, we're still forever going to stay in turmoil and just keep bashing
It's
each other one for it. So it's just going to be a tit for tat kind of thing. And yeah, we need to come out of that mind frame, because the way, even in social media, you can see the way it's developing these young kids' minds. Do you know what I mean? Like now you've got kids as young as 8, 9, 10, even younger, straight on the iPad. What did they say? It's easy access to the internet
use it
now.
better than me.
Exactly. They're straight onto this technology. They've got it down. So, you know, when they're using mummy's iPad or daddy's iPad, remember, for some, not all, but for some of the parents, you ain't got no parental lock.
This is it.
They can access whatever. Do you understand? So when they're seeing light-skinned girl does this, the black man does that, the dark-skinned woman does this, the light-skinned man does that, then you're picking up on the thing.
We saw the other day that, what's that Pingu, whatever, that cartoon show that's on YouTube.
Right.
No, it's true.
Yeah. That's the thing. So I think we need to stop listening to the powers that be that's helping manipulate our minds and have a mind of our own and just go from there and support one another.
Yeah, I agree.
But what I would like to say before I go, or before we go, should I say, like I'm going to leave you here. Yeah, nah, that's rude. What's the last thing? Anything that you want to say to the light-skinned women, dark-skinned women, the younger kids, like to the media, to anybody that's listening?
I think the last thing that I would definitely want to say, which I did forget to add, I think when it comes to the lighter and the darker skinned women, I know I've highlighted it again, but I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
When we meet somebody for the first time, whether it be another female in a women's case, or you're meeting a man of the opposite sex, and they may come with some sort of stereotype as in a negative way when it comes to the light-skinned or dark-skinned women, dark-skinned person, should I say. Sometimes you need to just breathe and take that time. Give them a chance. Because in the same way, for example, we've just met today, you know, I'm quite approachable and I've seen that you are. Yeah. Not all of us are like that. Some of us have the resting bitch face. Some of us...
Yeah, that's true.
Do you understand? Some of us are defensive as soon as you say hello. But give them a chance, because you'll be surprised. Sometimes once you get to know them, you can be that person to get to understand who they really are, why they're like that. Yeah. And you might even be able to help them. That's what we need to do. Yeah. We need to stop cutting off people too quick. Like whether you're meeting a friend or... you know, a guy's approaching you and maybe you're coming across a bit standoffish as a woman, but it's because of everything you've gone through. You don't know how to channel that. And a lot of the time, that's why some men are like, fuck this, I can't be bothered with that. This is why I go to such and such. But they need to take the time to understand why this girl is like that. And the same goes for women, because it isn't just the black man that goes for the white woman or goes for the lighter skin black woman, you know? You've got females that behave in that same way. And for all we know, men could be looking at, because men often say, you know, us as females always say, but the minute we see them with what's supposed to be the stereotype, we're like, we give looks and all of that. But I'm sure men have their own way of thinking what we do through looks when they see it the other way around. So we need to give each other chances. Yeah. See? You see it there? Lisa Brown. Tells you brought it out. I brought it out of her. So, no, but first and foremost, like, I would like to, before we close out, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show and blessing us with your presence and your insight on colorism. Do you know what I'm saying? Hopefully we can have you on here again talking about other major stuff. Do you know what I mean? You'll always be welcome. Do you know what I mean? Well, that's all from me, and I would put your socials on the link description and everything. So if anybody, you know, wants to get in contact with Lisa, then you'll find all of her details in the bio. So yeah, so that's it from me, and that is it from Lisa. Thanks, everyone.
Peace.